From News Channel 15, your political news leader. Continuing coverage of Vote 2008. Tonight, the Republican candidates for House District 105 debate. Now, live from the studios of News Channel 15, here's the moderator of tonight's debate, Jim Heath.
Hi everybody, good evening and welcome to our studios tonight for this first debate of this primary season. Tonight the four candidates for House District 105. This is the legislative district that primarily represents Conway and Loris and of course that ever fast-growing community of Carolina Forest. We'll get into issues affecting each one of those areas in just a few moments. As we do in each of these debates, we'll have a free-flow type style of debate where we just put questions on the table and allow the candidates to kind of interact. But before we do that, we want to introduce you to the four candidates. We'll give them each 1 minute to say hello to you and to kind of make their case of why they're running. Gentlemen, I'll trust you on your honor here for the 1 minute. Right. But Mark Bennett from Conway, we'll begin with you.
Thank you. Good evening, folks. My name is Mark Bennett, and I'm running for State House of Representatives District 105. This is not a pre-written script. This is just me. I'm the underdog candidate with no money, and I know it's laughable. But I'm running because I believe that people like myself, who aren't in the construction business or aren't rich lawyers, need more adequate representation into Columbia. With the tax situation, the illegal immigration situation, things are running amok, and we all know this. I believe that I can be your voice in Columbia. I have no special interest money. I have no pocket money. The only thing I have are conservative principles, and I'm willing to go to Columbia and fight for those principles and fight for you. I believe you deserve a voice who will be there and voice your opinions. That's why I'm running. And honey, if you're at home, I love you.
All right, very good. Mr. Bennett, thank you very much. George Hearn, also from Conway, 1 minute, sir.
Thank you. I am George Hearn, and I'm also running for House Seat 105. You know, I wasn't fortunate enough to be born in Horry County, but I was smart enough to move here 28 years ago, moved to Conway, and I've loved being part of this community ever since. I've been married for 28 years to my lovely wife, Kay, and we are the proud parents of a 19-year-old daughter, Kathleen, who just finished her second year at Wofford College. We've been active in our church in Conway for more than 25 years, and I've had an opportunity to serve on a variety of boards, charitable boards and foundations. I'm running because I am a fiscal conservative, and I think it's important as a fiscal conservative that we make sure that we get value for the taxes that we pay, and we don't embrace policies and tax programs that we don't want and we don't need. Whoever is elected to serve you next Tuesday has some big shoes to fill. And I like to think that my experience as a lawyer and as a businessman will serve me well, make me an effective advocate for the good citizens of 105, and that's why I'm asking for your support today.
All right, Mr. Hearn, thank you very much. And now we turn to Kevin Hardy. Mr. Hardy, good evening.
Thank you, Jim. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Kevin Hardy, and I'm a candidate for House Seat 105. I'm a lifelong resident of Horry County, have 2 daughters. We live outside of Conway on the family farm. I've served the past seven and a half years as a member of Horry County Council and worked hard for the citizens of that district to bring the much needed services that they need in a rural community. If you elect me to House Seat 105, I will continue to promote my conservative values as I did here on council. Thank you.
Mr. Hardy, thank you very much. And Randy Alford. Mr. Alford, good evening, and 1 minute, sir.
Good evening. Thank you. Thank you. My name is Randy Alford, and I'd like to thank you for taking time out to see us this evening. If on your way home from work today you travel down roads that were a little too crowded, maybe a little bit underfunded, maybe you work for a business that's a little overregulated, maybe you don't get enough benefits at work, then you're going to make good use of the next half hour. When I sat down and talked to my wife, Sienna, a few weeks ago about what this would mean to her medical practice and my business and to our 3 sons, we decided that I had to run. The reason for that is serving on city council, we found there's a huge gap between what is represented in Columbia and what we get at the city level. We need representation to represent our cities and towns and communities in Columbia, and there's a big disconnect. What we need in a candidate is someone who's studious of the issues, has solutions, has character to stand up to special interest, who has energy, a hard work ethic, and not only that, but we, the residents of District 105, need someone who's not satisfied with the status quo and wants to make changes and inspire you to do better. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, as we do in these debates through the years, if you're all familiar with the format, we'll just kind of throw some issues out there. I see smiles already, so, but no surprises, I don't think, during the next 30 minutes. I think we all know what we're going to cover. But a question to start off with tonight, and I'll ask all of you. Mr. Alford, I'll begin with you. Representative Witherspoon has represented us in this district for quite some time. He has a leadership position as chairman of the Agriculture Committee. But when you look at this district and the growth in this district, when you get to Columbia, if you're elected, do you aspire to be on the Agriculture Committee and take a leadership role there? Or do you look at areas like Carolina Forest and think, you know what, there might be other committee assignments that will be more relevant to a changing District 105?
Right. Okay, the answer to that question is, first of all, I own a farm, and I think that it's very important. Our agricultural communities are very important. Firstly, because agricultural land, while they pay considerable taxes, they don't need a lot of infrastructure. So therefore, it's a winning situation for the state, a wide agricultural base. But I would be more interested in the area of budget and finance, because I think that one of the big problems that faces our state is a problem with the budget. I think we have waste and inefficiency in government, and I think that we need a real concentration in that area so our state can be more productive and get better use of its tax dollars. And so that's the kind of area I would move into.
All right, Mr. Hardy, do you want to jump into this?
Yeah, it would be a pleasure for me to serve on that committee. I'm an outdoorsman, conservationist, and I live on a farm, and there's other issues that come before that committee as well. And as a council member, I represent the rural area of Horry County, and I also represent portions of Conway. But I would be glad to serve on that committee.
So agriculture.
Agriculture would be great.
All right, Mr. Hearn?
Well, I want to start out by saying that nobody can replace Billy Witherspoon. He's done a wonderful job for us since 1993. Billy's service as a chair of the committee has been invaluable, but I would focus more on the financial aspects as well, because the biggest problem we have in Columbia is spending money that we don't have for programs we don't need. As a fiscal conservative, I would work and hope to get on a committee that would afford me the opportunity to rein in government spending, because if we don't do that, we're going to continue to pay more and more in taxes and get less and less in return. That is what I hope to accomplish if I'm fortunate enough to go to Columbia, and I hope that the good citizens, after hearing this debate, will help get me there.
All right, Mr. Bennett, very briefly, committee assignments, agriculture?
Well, I would be willing to serve the people in any capacity I deem necessary. I am totally in favor of the farmer. But right now, if you look at the situation with our roads and with the way that illegal immigration is affecting the job market, the cost and the wages are going downhill, I really would want to serve on some sort of a steering committee. I mean, right now, our government is deeming to spend $9 million on a pea museum when there's kids in this county that don't have textbooks. I believe that is deplorable. We need a government that is accountable to the people, not necessarily the businesses.
All right,
now, business is good, but I really think that it is important to stick up for the agricultural society, but just as much as the roads on 501, Carolina Forest, we are a growing community, and we need infrastructure.
Actually, I want to get into that. And Mr. Hearn, let me take another stab at it. When you look at this district,
yes,
you've got Conway, which three of you are from, and Mr. Hardy from Loris. But sitting in this district is, I think the population of Carolina Forest in 2000 was about 5,000 people. You could argue that it's doubled that in the last 8 years. If you're a Carolina Forest resident, somebody who's basically moved to District 105 in the last decade, how can you be assured that you're the best voice that's going to represent this new and growing area that is certainly considerably different than some of the past interests of the rural parts of District 105 that we find?
Well, that's a challenge that we all face that are seeking this position, because we have a diverse, large geographic area. We have Carolina Forest, we have Conway, we have Loris. Loris is a wonderful community, but they need jobs in Loris. Conway is a great community. It's the gateway to Myrtle Beach, but it wants to maintain the quintessential small town atmosphere that we have. And then you have Carolina Forest that has a whole collection of problems that between roads and infrastructure. So whoever takes on this assignment, whoever is fortunate enough to serve the citizens of 105, is going to have to work overtime. You're going to have to work 3 times as hard because you've got distinct areas that need addressing. Carolina Forest has been underrepresented, in part because it didn't exist 15 years ago. It's growing, it's going to continue to grow, and the problems that they have to be met. Whoever takes on that job is going to have to spend a lot of time doing it.
Mr. Hardy, do you sense that same concern as Carolina Forest continues to grow?
I do. As a council member, I've been involved in the intersection improvements. We've put in 3 stoplights. We're currently widening both ends of River Oaks Boulevard. We're playing catch up really because of the fact that we were behind in infrastructure. A lot of newer developments were required to put the infrastructure in on the front end. And if I'm elected, I will continue to enhance these roads around here.
Mr. Alford, I'll let you have the last word on this.
Yeah, look, this is the perfect example of why you should vote for me for this position. The biggest problem facing Carolina Forest is the road issue. Now here's a solution for you. The 10th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution allows for the powers to be reverted to the states that aren't exercised by the federal government. That's vaguely the crux of what it says. What we need to do in South Carolina is take back the federal highway tax, 18.4 cents a gallon, that is used in Washington, and we don't get back all the dollars. It goes all over the country. We have the same problem in Horry County with taxes paid in Horry County and within the state. But what we do with that federal highway tax is we need to get that money back to South Carolina, and there's an opportunity in 2010 to do that. We can at that point get 100% of the money that's paid in federal highway tax, 18.4 cents. Right now we're getting a lot less than that. We're sending it all over the country. With that kind of increase in that highway tax and the cut in the waste and administrative cost in the Department of Transportation, we can have a lot